Now we're going to turn to Israel, though, because the new Prime Minister of Israel, Naftali Bennett, has chaired his first cabinet meeting and has promised to heal the country's rifts. The right-winger heads an unwieldy coalition whose 8-member parties joined forces to unseat Benjamin Netanyahu after his 12 years in office. Well, Parliament approved the new government by just a single vote. Our Middle East correspondent Yamina reports.
Israel always has coalition governments, but it's never had one as wide-ranging as this. Headed by a right-wing religious Jew, Naftali Bennett, and Yair Lapid, a secular centrist. With an Arab-Israeli Islamist party joining in an historic first. Winning just 7 of 120 parliamentary seats in the last election, few expected Naftali Bennett to become Prime Minister. The former Special Forces soldier turned high-tech multi-millionaire began in politics as Benjamin Netanyahu's chief of staff and later joined him in government as defense minister. He's a staunch nationalist, committed to Israeli settlements and opposed to the creation of a Palestinian state. But for the sake of unity, he says now is a time to compromise.
No one will be asked to give up their ideology, but everyone will have to postpone the realization of some of their dreams.
Before he became a politician, Yair Lapid used to interview Israel's leaders. He was a well-known TV news anchor until he turned to politics a decade ago, at a time when social and economic struggles were bringing out middle-class Israelis for mass street protests. After a term as finance minister alongside Benjamin Netanyahu, he spent years in opposition. That was to change last month when the president gave him the mandate to form a new government after the long-time PM was unable to do so. His party had second most votes behind Mr. Netanyahu's. Traditional Palestinian dancing is how the United Arab List celebrated its 4 seats on election night. It's socially conservative in its outlook, headed by a dentist, Mansour Abbas. Unlike other Arab leaders, he was willing to join even a purely right-wing Israeli government. He says he'll work for the Arab minority that makes up 1/5 of the population. This new coalition is really a patchwork of small and medium-sized parties that have little in common ideologically. They include those on the left and former right-wing allies of Benjamin Netanyahu. What really stitches them together is the desire for change. The new government will face a formidable opposition leader looking to exploit their divisions. With the thinnest possible majority, it will stick to topics it can agree on, like helping the post-COVID economic recovery. But that won't be easy after last month's mob violence in mixed Arab and Jewish cities, and as tensions continue to simmer in Jerusalem. Yolanda, BBC News, Jerusalem.
Let's cross live to Jerusalem, where we have the new Israeli government posing for one of those traditional family photographs. Of course, they're just, here they come. The coalition, of course, approved in a razor-thin vote, 60 to 59, 1 abstention there. So that traditional family photo. Naftali Bennett vowing to unite the nation, which has been frayed by 4 elections in 2 years of political stalemate. Naftali Bennett saying that his government would work for the sake of all the people, adding that priorities would be reforms in education, health and cutting red tape, avoiding any contentious issues given the wide political divisions within wide political frames within this coalition group. Benjamin Netanyahu forced out of office after 12 years, and Naftali Bennett, the leader of the Yamina party, will be Prime Minister until September 2023. It is part of this power-sharing deal. Mr. Bennett will then hand power over to Yair Lapid, head of the centrist Yesh Atid party, for a further 2 years. So we've got the family photo taking place there, live images from Jerusalem of this new coalition government that was voted in with a very, very narrow vote there, razor thin as it's being described, a vote of 60 to 59, 1 abstention.